drums. Show us what you got. Program activated.
This week, the Marthythians watched the 2004 cinematic classic National Treasure starring Nick Cage. They also listened to the 1990 album Painkiller by rock stars Judas Priest. And they imbibed in a gallon of Listerine original flavor each. It was not a pleasant experience.
Hologram program activated.
Nope.
Any of the things?
Well,
no, was it?
Yes, it was. Rob Halford can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Look, I just, humans, earthlings,
What about him?
kind of idiots. I mean,
It's not their fault.
well, they produce this stuff, and seemingly large amounts of people enjoy it.
No big deal.
How do you not enjoy something that awesome, though?
Oh, what kind of awesome? The movie? The record?
Both.
The Listerine?
Well,
I hear that the Listerine is multi-purpose, though.
What
Yeah.
else would you use it for?
Well, because the alcohol that you need to kill your germs in your mouth?
What, you can just drink it?
You shouldn't, but you can.
can you clean
Ooh.
rust off your car with it?
But it's not Coke.
Sometimes I drink Listerine, sometimes I spray bread with
You've been,
Lysol, and sometimes I just, if I've got some money, I go buy some gasoline and huff it from a bag.
You've been living in the North way too long.
I worked at a gas station, and pretty much every time these gentlemen came in, they were buying $1 of gasoline. Or
What
they
do you
were
even carry that
buying
in?
A bottle of. We stopped stocking Lysol.
Tales of a young Marthythian.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do to blend in, right?
Gas
Yeah.
stations on Marthyth.
Yeah.
It's just.
So the
It's a whole
huffing is
different
universal
story.
then, is what we're kind of picking up. Or at least, inter-galaxy related.
Yeah. You need gas, right? How do you think we got to planet Earth?
Oh.
When we left there, the dinosaurs were fine.
Happy feelings propelled our ship through space? No, it was gasoline.
They're really upset about that, man.
Gas engine.
You created such a
spaceships.
crutch, leaving them with gas.
Yeah, well, leaving them with gas?
Well, yeah, they got nothing else going on. They can barely get solar off the ground. They can barely agree on wind power, and all
Who,
they
the
have is...
Marthythians?
No, man, the Earthlings.
Earthlings. That's because they're stupid. They just haven't embraced gasoline properly.
Embraced it properly.
They haven't fully embraced the glory that is gasoline.
They're bad. They're bad.
Oil and petroleum products.
They got a long way to go.
It got us from one planet to another.
That's true.
So,
But our
gasoline's
technology
pretty
is a lot more advanced.
More efficient.
Yeah.
Efficient.
What did you guys think of the album anyway?
Blew my space boots off.
Oof, no.
Totes.
Really? It blew your
Ooh,
space
2 against
boots
3.
off.
What
Well-
did you not like about it? Obviously something.
Alright, so the album starts off with this wicked, bass.
Yeah, it does.
The drum solo?
drum
Oh man.
solo.
Right?
It just
I
starts
hit
off
play and I was
wicked.
like, I'm in.
Right?
And then
Right?
they just rip into the guitar with the most retarded guitar tone I've ever heard.
What?
How
So
much?
dumb.
Can we stop right now? How
Yeah.
much of your dislike is from a technical level versus just enjoying it as an individual?
Well, that's how you enjoy things.
Alright.
All of the ingredients must come together to create something worthwhile. And I feel like the ingredients were all soaked in diesel or something. And
You say it like it's bad.
It was
What did we
it was
just
100
talk
miles
about?
an hour,
It was.
non-stop
Yeah.
thrill
Right?
ride, like the entire album almost.
You just needed a
I
break.
like thrill rides.
It was like
Are
a
you-
roller coaster
That's the
with
thing.
Rob Halford at the front, like
And
screaming.
he's more like
Yeah.
a donkey with a carrot in the front. He just likes it nice and slow.
That's he takes it nice and slow.
No, it was-
He gives it hard, but he takes it nice and slow. Rob Halford. The thing is, I don't know, is too much. It's so theatrical.
It was,
so
yeah.
theatrical.
Oh, and that was your problem?
No, there's a lot of problems. I don't know, the
can't pick just
vocals
one?
are insane.
They are excessive. I wouldn't normally like something that...
over the top.
Yeah.
It's operatic. And,
It
And
is.
some people like their
There's nothing
operatic
wrong with
metal.
that.
I mean, I like metal. That's the thing, is it's not the energy, If I'm listening to a lot of stuff with a lot of energy, but it just I don't know.
Well, what
have you ever
makes-
seen Heavy Metal, that animated film?
Yeah.
It's like that. It's just so much in the fantasy realm. It's so over the top. It just enters the realm of absolutely ridiculous.
Then what do you think about something like Rhapsody or Dragon Slayer, where it is all fantasy metal? Is that just unacceptable because they embrace something so absurd?
No, I don't begrudge other people enjoying it. I just didn't enjoy it. I mean, from a musicianship aspect and from a
Unacceptable.
theatrical aspect, they're talented musicians.
The voice, the guitars, it's insane.
Yeah, all of it, it's well produced.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. They can play.
Yeah.
It's just the...
Like the whole production of it.
yeah,
It's just too much.
the recipe comes out a little too sugary for me. A little too in your face.
He's riding a dragon on some of those songs, Aaron. How is that sugary?
Wearing leather chaps.
I hope so. I hope they're studded. I hope it's leather chaps and a studded vest and nothing else. Maybe some aviators. You know Halford's always in those aviators.
Oh, totally.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's hilarious
Yeah.
because before Halford came out as gay in 1998,
Yeah. It was only
gay people
98.
already knew. They were like, I'm into this
Leather
fashion.
Rebel, Nightcrawler.
Are you ki- how did they
Nightcrawler's
not?
They
a little bit
embraced it right out of the
Lovecraftian,
gate.
though. If you look at the text, it's a little Lovecraftian, and that makes me extra enthused.
Yeah. I mean, I understand why people like it, and it's not. I've heard a lot of stuff that's just, it's poorly produced. Even from a fantasy lyrics
Well, you
perspective,
can
they're
overdo
poorly
metal
written.
so easy. People think that they're being so legit, but it's too laid too heavy. It's too thick. You're too Mimi Bobek makeup in your music. And I suppose now that I say that, I see where you're coming from. They're just wearing too much eyeshadow. It's just too much.
It's like you can almost laugh at parts because they are so, like, too far, like...
Oh, but it's so
I bang
hardcore.
my head, but then I'll hear, like, one of the lines that is just, like... like
And if you
laser
look at the
beams or
lyric
something.
sheet, it's like four words.
Yeah.
But Halford is stretching it out
Right.
over so many bars because he's just
Oh, yeah. Holding those notes.
Just holding that note.
I saw a concert footage from Judas Priest.
concert footage.
A piece of concert footage from Judas Priest from, like, it was the mid-'80s. I guess it was before Painkiller.
Oh, yeah.
But it was, like, crazy. At one point, he actually had a Marshall amplifier that opened up, and he came out riding a motorcycle on stage.
She did that regularly, though.
Well, that was
That
part
was
of his
his shtick?
tour. Like, that's...
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the audience just went nuts. They're
during
like,
the
he's, like,
during the
revving the
Painkiller
motorcycle.
concert tour, he had an accident, He had, like a bike
Oh,
accident.
so he continued doing it. Wow.
Yeah, he finished the show,
Yeah.
with a hospitalizing injury. He was like,
Wow.
and that's how he starts the show. He comes out on the bike, then he got
I've
like a
seen-
hospitalizing injury. He's like, I'm finishing this shit.
Wow.
And he went off and then went to the hospital.
afterwards. I've seen a couple of those for sure in much smaller DIY underground venues.
The theatrics are okay for sure from a live perspective. Like Rammstein
Oh, man.
has unbelievable
Yeah.
theatrics. The difference is Rammstein is Rammstein sounds like Rammstein.
Yeah.
But they're not canned in the sense that Rammstein doesn't produce their music. They don't manufacture their music. And that's kind of how I felt about Painkiller, was that they manufactured a product.
That's interesting you should say that, because I know that if you go by decades, like 70s, 80s, and 90s, the 90s, to some people, are a revival of their original sound and incarnation, even though it is, speedier than the 70s might be, because the 80s was synth-laden, wasn't it? I mean,
was.
Turbo Lover?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The 80s
And-
was. That's when
Turbo
they
Lover was
embraced the
before
leather.
this album?
I thought it was. I thought
Turbo Lover was.
Oh, okay.
Painkiller was the last album that Halford did.
Oh, yeah.
Until I think he did one recently.
And they had a new drummer for Painkiller?
Oh, okay. I can
And
see
the
that then. How
awesomeness.
people were like going back to that. Yeah. And because it was just like crazy. When I think of Turbo Lover, you think of all like those synth sounds and stuff.
But
which-
listen, I mean, Turbo Lover. Come on, the lyrics are, I'm your Turbo Lover.
you guys
like,
are
it's-
fantastic.
It's
Amazing.
It's ridiculous. It's absurd.
As a goth at heart, anything from the 80s is yeah.
Not everything. Look, and Judas Priest
It
in
ranges.
the 70s.
ranges.
They
a
were
lot.
still, there's a big gap between what's actually good in the 80s and what's not. But that's every decade.
Fair.
Look,
Fair.
in the 70s, they were wearing bell-bottoms and floral print shirts. Like, they were a totally different band. They released a bunch of albums that were all very different from each other, and they couldn't find footing. And then in the 80s, in like 1980, they were like, all right, studded
jump on
leather
this.
chaps, and
Right.
we're going for this like operatic hair metal thing full on. And then by the 90s, Painkiller did nominally well, but it was seeing its day. It was being replaced with things like Guns N' Roses, who had been on the scene for a little while.
What makes
and
Axl
were blowing
Rose
up.
any different from Ralph Halford other than he's not quite as good?
Yeah, and he's going to front AC/DC now.
Yeah,
no,
what's-
he's way worse. He's got the most annoying voice. I'd rather listen to Rob
But he's got
Halford
the
than Axl
pitch,
Rose.
right? I mean, I guess it depends what your interest is. Do you appreciate the full range that Halford has versus that shrill that Axl Rose has? I mean, Jack
Shrill,
Black
it's
has
like-
that, and he's a better singer.
Jack Black's better
Yeah.
than Axl Rose. Axl Rose is like listening to fingernails on a chalkboard
Truth.
or a knife on a
Bunny.
on a plate.
And the
bunny.
plate?
Yeah, on a bunny.
The
You know,
contents-
you scratch
Ever
out
heard
a
of
knife on a plate.
Scream?
It's the content's a lot different
When
for
was the
Guns N'
last time you
Roses
put
too.
a knife to a bunny?
You don't want to know. Don't go upstairs.
What the heck?
Next.
She's murdered my rabbit.
Oh,
Upstairs
man.
to the bridge.
Well, why
Okay,
do you
wait.
think the ejector pod went off earlier today?
Okay, wait.
Don't go up there.
If you guys could describe the album in one word? One word.
Does it have to be a word?
Yes. Or a face? I don't think they can
Can't
see
be
your
a face.
face. No.
Do you want to go first?
Fabulous.
Yeah! That's what I think.
Oh, that's
What
good.
do you think, Mitch?
My description?
Yeah.
One word. I was just gonna go with like insurmountable.
Oh, I like that one.
Insurmountable. Stoppable? Insurmounter-stoppable. It's very stoppable. I say fabulous. I don't really mean that positively. It's kind of...
Yeah, we can tell from the... I think that I like it
Fabulous.
enough for all of us, and that's really what matters.
What's that?
That I like it enough for all of us.
You like it enough for the three of us?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think my like plus Mitch's
My
warmth
like
to it,
is there. Like it's there. It's underneath. Like
You can appreciate it?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like hip deep in it right now.
Yeah, I don't begrudge that of you. I just can't get there. I just can't.
No, that's fair.
Can't do it now. I
On the
mean,
other
that
hand,
being
no.
said, if they used that album as the soundtrack for National Treasure, I might have been more on
Whoa.
board. So that
That could have worked. I mean, the only Painkiller-esque thing about that was the car chase with her hanging out the door.
Oh yeah,
Where
that
she
was
did her own
intense.
things. Yeah, that was
That
the
was
only...
What was with the food truck, by the way?
There was a food truck?
Yeah, like that whole truck, like that she was hanging out of.
That was a food truck?
Yeah, like the bad guys, they brought the food truck, and
Yeah.
the driver was dressed up like a chef.
sneaky.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you can
It's
tell how much
sneaky.
attention I was paying to that.
It's sneaky.
But I
That
didn't-
way nobody knows.
No, I
who
didn't
they are.
understand the sneaky aspect of it though, because why would this like grimy food truck be outside of like a black tie event where they're
because
serving?
they were. That's how they snuck into the building.
By being caterers?
But-
they didn't. They broke into the building,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Yeah, look.
He snuck. They broke.
Inconspicuous food truck
Allowed them to
parked
be
on the
near
street,
the premise
as
side?
opposed
Ah.
to black panel van.
Right.
Criminals.
I guess. Yeah, criminals.
Ask for
Which,
details.
which interestingly is the route that Nick Cage and his sidekick in all of their wisdom decided to go. Red panel van.
Oh, that's true. They did
Totally
the van.
black.
conspicuous.
well,
Well,
maybe
it's
they
no
just...
food truck.
Yeah, speaking of his sidekick,
Yeah.
who is that guy? Why is he in a movie? And who cut his hair? Who cut any of their hair?
Oh, I'm pretty sure Nick Cage's hair is fake. He's got plugs. I heard it was chinchilla
nuts.
fur.
He used chinchilla fur
4 plugs?
for plugs.
Well, if you can get mink eyelashes, why can't you get chinchilla wigs?
Well, I've also heard that he uses chinchillas for butt plugs.
Did he get that from Gear?
He got that from Richard Gere.
Yeah,
So,
well.
I mean,
They must go to the same
celebrities
wigist.
run in the same circles,
Right.
Oh.
and they trade secrets.
Okay, but Sean Bean's hair though was fantastic.
He should have died.
It was like he
surprised he
had a
didn't.
blonde mullet that he said, you know what, I don't really want a mullet anymore. We're gonna let it grow out, and then he just chopped the back off, and it's in this weird middle place.
I think that he took a straight razor to it and just went, no.
Why is Sean Bean in movies? Give me a movie that he was great in.
Give you a good Sean Bean
Lord of
movie?
the
Yeah.
Rings? He made a good villain in that.
Goldeneye, maybe.
Goldeneye, Trevelyan, he was badass.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
was he in? He wasn't in that Jamie Lee Curtis movie, was he? No, that was Arnold.
Well, he was also in Game of Thrones, which was pretty
That's
badass
not a
too.
movie, though.
Was he in
he's
Game
in-
of Thrones?
yeah.
Which season? I'm not that caught
The
up.
first
first
season,
one.
yeah, he died in the
He
first.
used to get top
Spoiler.
billing.
Oh, he was the
Lee.
yeah, but
Yeah.
he died real quick.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Which
because
is
he chopped his
fine
head off. Of
because
course it was quick.
you don't want to give Sean Bean time to shine because he just won't.
Oh.
Well, it's true.
I don't know.
Aaron had
It's
a
true.
lot of hate for pretty much all the actors in this
It's
movie.
so poorly casted.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll give it, even the girl
And
sucked.
Christopher Plummer, Aaron.
He was in like the first 2 minutes,
And
and,
he
that
was
was
the
it.
best part.
Yeah.
John Voight was awful. Nick Cage
Yeah, his
was
hair
awful.
too, right at the beginning.
Okay, Harvey Keitel was fun
like-
as usual.
Harvey
though.
Keitel it easily could have been the wolf.
Oh
Easily.
yeah, I know when he came in with the suit on and
Right?
everything. I'm
And
like,
he's
"Oh,
always
the
so
wolf."
quick.
Yeah.
He's talking. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take care of this. We're gonna fix it right away. I don't know if he's really from Jersey, but that's what it sounds like when I do his voice.
The problem with the movie,
Just
actors-wise,
one?
is that they were all useless characters. All of them were pointless. There was no need for any of them in any of it, and there was no need for the story. It's carried along like, well, I guess we have to get to the next plot point.
Then they find
Whatever, we'll just go there,
Yeah.
and then they just do.
Do we know where this fell in regards to the Da Vinci fad?
It's like a kids kind of movie, right? Like the Da Vinci Code. This was more of a kids movie than like the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, it was a Disney movie, believe it
Yeah.
or not.
Can we talk about how much I love that that's how you're describing it? Because I feel like it's an American version of the Da Vinci Code.
I thought the Da Vinci Code was
British.
American.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's placed in Europe
Oh.
with actual, historic.
Right.
See,
historical,
I
like,
thought
art.
it was a really horrifically shitty attempt by Disney to try and capitalize on Indiana
Yeah.
Jones and
Oh.
yeah,
I
and
didn't
Rick
even think
O'Connell
Indiana
from
Jones.
The Mummy, but
Yeah.
but they just took all of the supernatural out of it, all of it. They're
Which
just
was
like,
the best
you know,
part.
let's make it historical conspiracy theory.
No, see, that works if you get something legit. Like, that's a huge literary vein. It's like
Right.
candy for your eyeballs and your brain. So
Could
it's not
be.
very good. But I really thought that it was like watered
Is it?
down to take, instead of it being like a trip through Europe where there's stuff you don't give a fuck about because you're a Westerner. Oh no.
Like what,
we're
the Da
going
Vinci
into-
Code?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
still
so
what
give
I'm
me an
working on.
example where they've done that well cinematically, where they were like, yeah, you know what? Conspiracy theory, historical stuff. Good movie, go.
Conspiracy theory, historical stuff.
Does it
good
have to be movies? Because I'm not talking really
in what?
movies.
In what? What's good in that vein?
I read a series of books that it wasn't like, title, subtitle throughout the series,
Right.
but it was all based on one guy, Cotton Malone. And somehow, he was an antique book dealer and he always got pulled into these crazy things, even though he was trying not to do it anymore. And it's, my girlfriend got kidnapped because her dad's an antique dealer and he has this thing that these shadowy figures want. It's always shadowy figures. It's always ridiculous. And the issue, I assume, for you is that you can't suspend your disbelief enough. You can't turn your brain off
I
enough.
totally can.
You just don't care?
No, they're just like it works. I love
Oh, now
fantasy.
it
I
works?
love sci-fi. I love that. I love that. You can do that. But the problem with National Treasure for me is you put it in like the real world. So as opposed to going, here we are in the real world, and then everything gets fantastical. They're like, here's a legitimate presentation of the realization of conspiracy theories in the real world, and that doesn't work for me because it's kind of like watching Ancient Aliens. We watch it because it's retarded, right? But we watch it because they're so obscenely stupid to present these ideas in the first
As
place.
fact.
And how serious
Particularly
they are
as
about
facts,
those
they're
things.
serious
Yeah.
about it, and that's kind of how I feel about the movie. And like Ancient Aliens was fun for the first while. Now it's just like, are you kidding me? That
You're sticking with this?
right? And now there are actual people out there, and they're like, totally, man. Who could have built the pyramids? Must have been aliens. So people are buying into this.
According to National Treasure, that's also the case.
Right, National Treasure is like kind of an extension of that vein, and it kind of just ends up pissing me off a little bit. It's just kind of, it annoys me. But that's not actually why I dislike the movie. I dislike the movie because it was just a garbage film, front to back.
That's fair.
Like,
No, some of the shots were kind of cool though, like at the Capitol building. Like I bet the
Right.
cinematographer was just like reading the script and he's just like,
do I
I'm gonna make
this
some of these
Hobbit
shots
one?
kind of cool, but this movie.
how?
Yeah.
I like to play a game while I was watching it. What was Nick Cage really doing / thinking when he was filming these? If you go back and you watch it, every time that he's just like strutting around or running somewhere or thinking,
Right.
like what's really happening? Do they have to shoot around him being Nick Cage, or is he actually acting? Like when he's walking along,
Yeah.
like is he storming off set because they're totally just not cool guys? Like when he's running,
Yeah.
how many takes did it take? Can he only go 10 houses at a time? Then he had to stop?
Reset.
He looked like
yeah.
it was really challenging for him to
It
run
did.
at all.
Right? Do you
Yeah.
remember when they split up and Nick Cage is being pursued and he punches out the guy and then he's like, oh, come on, there's another one? And he corners him on the roof. And just before they get to the roof, there's a shot that just comes in and Nick Cage just rolls onto the roof.
Yeah.
He's just there. And it's like, why did
They
you
do that a lot, like
Why?
with the van scene where it like comes across the road, and then you just see Nick Cage like flailing down the sidewalk.
I know, that was totally something I wanted to get to.
Right as it passes.
Yeah.
And like every movie, you know, that was maybe my
Flailing his
favorite
arms.
Yeah.
scene because you expect that the bus is gonna pass and then he's not gonna be there.
Right. But instead,
But that's
he's
not what
like,
happens. He goes like he's running his ass off
Yeah.
to get out of the way.
Or Nick Cage's face when he was like making his fake ID on the computer.
Oh,
like
yeah.
when they never actually showed him doing anything. They just kind of like zoomed in on his face, and he was like,
And it's crooked.
yeah. He's
It's
like,
totally, the picture that he puts in is crooked.
Oh,
He
yeah.
does everything with like way too much theater.
face.
Yeah, he does everything to the extreme. Like there's
Yeah.
no middle ground.
Which is
with
weird
Nick
because he
Cage.
doesn't have any facial expressions.
Very
Yeah,
few.
they didn't
Mostly
change much.
confusion. And speaking of confusion, like what was the point of his sidekick? He had no skills. He had zero reason
Didn't
for
he
being
set
there.
up
he was the hacker guy.
the break-in
No,
stuff?
but
Yeah.
that doesn't even make sense because they're like, oh, we're gonna steal this, and they're like, no, we can't steal something. So he has all these skills that are perfectly designed for stealing stuff, but he feels morally averse to stealing things. So
Just
it's like,
because you have the knowledge to break into a vehicle doesn't mean that you do it every day.
I
Right.
trained myself
We
to
don't know
break
that.
into.
Some people just have these skills that are used for good, not evil.
Or
He
tracking
just
down
knows how
daughters.
to.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
knows how to
Daughters,
hack
if
a
you will.
CCTV.
That's true. Oh yeah,
system.
yeah.
And he was dumb. He was just dumb.
He was
He
dumb.
absolutely
And dumb
stupid.
looking.
Yeah, his moppish hair.
He was the
The
comic
hair,
relief
man.
guy.
He really
the kids
was.
like laughing
I
at
gotta
him
say,
when he
this-
slips and stuff.
Yeah, but it wasn't funny. The girl, the love interest.
Why did they get together?
Why was it a love interest? Exactly.
You have to have one. If you don't have some sort of sexual angst, people won't watch anything.
They just
Right.
It
felt
doesn't
like
matter
it should
how.
be there.
Well, of course, you have to
When
go
she
through
kisses
a
him, you're
box.
just like, what?
Why did you do that?
What's the point? I don't understand.
I see
she
you
loves
pulling on
treasure.
her waist, but your faces don't look like you're into it. Like
Yeah.
you're just rubbing your mouths together.
There wasn't just rubbing them.
That's the sound.
There
it's
wasn't
making.
even a.
It's a dry kiss. That's how you know no one's into it. You ever had a dry kiss? You either just like smoked a blunt or you're not into it at all. At all.
There was no point for them hooking up.
But it's Disney, you know, love will
Yeah.
win. If you are tenacious, sure, she didn't want to go near you. Sure, you kind of kidnapped her. Sure, you threatened to duct tape her.
But
But if
you
you just
won
stick
her
it
over.
out,
And sure,
you can Christian
neither of
Grey
you
her
seemed
into love.
interested.
Yeah.
Neither of you seemed interested in one another.
So they should have got married.
Like at all. It was so pointless. He gives her the medallion, right? She's like,
It's a patent.
and that brings up, I was thinking about this. That she gets the medallion in the thing, and she's like, I hope it's not from so and so,
Yeah.
whatever it is, right?
I never caught that.
Stan.
When you told me about that the first time, you
Yep.
told me about like the ex-lover or ex-husband or something like that.
Oh,
Or
those aren't
boyfriend,
related.
or whatever he
The
is.
ex isn't related to the Stan.
Stan is the guy who she was with in the.
At the party,
At
who
the
brought
party.
her the extra
Yeah, that's
wine.
what I mean.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So she's like, I hope it's not him.
That
and then,
guy.
and then they bring him in that scene
Yeah.
right. He takes both drinks and then he gives her one. But the guy's there.
Yeah.
For no reason.
For all we
There's
know,
no
there was a deleted scene.
conversation. There's no.
Like,
it's useless.
we're just
It's a useless
assuming that he's
plot
like
point.
That
going
guy.
after her, like
Yeah, I
trying
assume
to
it's
woo her.
it's a one-sided work interest.
Oh.
That's what I took away
Right.
from it. I don't know if it's because I've worked in places like being
Where is this going?
on one hand, I want to say being a woman, I get a lot of one-sided attention. Conversely, you guys are the gender that put out the unwanted attention, so you can equally know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but that's because women don't have to.
Have to what?
Well, here's the thing. Like, a man has to be like...
Do you?
Yeah, because if you don't give a woman the signals that you're interested, she's, there's never going to be more than that. Because the
Ever.
woman can just accept whichever one she decides to accept.
So they're coming at her from all directions.
Right, and then she just picks the one that she wants. Men don't get that from women. Women don't go to men and be like, hey, one-sided attention.
You've never had a sexual harassment lawsuit thrown at you, have you?
No. It's because I don't
Aaron
sexually harass
sexually
anyone.
harasses me every day.
Well, but you're
I
a
think
guy.
that the current culture, the current social climate doesn't allow for a social climax, if you know what I mean.
What? No, I don't know what you mean.
That's fine. Next topic.
Okay.
I think the movie was awful.
It was.
And
But we
there
sat through
wasn't
it
no
anyway.
redeeming factors. None.
Really? Not the excessively huge treasure pit at the end that as the flames went up,
Yes.
wouldn't that actually make them suffocate?
I loved
Yeah.
the treasure pit because of how over the top it was. Like,
Right.
There was the Indiana Jones.
yeah, but it was below Wall Street. Like,
Oh, was it?
Yeah, they like went into a church on Wall Street,
I didn't
and then
even
they're
get
just
that.
like, it's down here,
down
which they forgot about.
Wah, wah.
Yeah,
It's this massive,
yeah, the treasure.
this massive complex
Yeah,
that would have taken like hundreds of people to build
yeah.
over a
Slaves.
massive amount of time, and yet somehow,
These five white guys kept it a secret?
just
Yeah.
kept it a secret. The Masons. Why the Masons?
And eventually they just forgot about it.
No
Nobody,
explanation. And
nobody
they just-
ever.
And the
Followed up.
complexity of all the clues that they left, like to what trick each other. All you had to do
Was not
if
tell anyone?
let's just say you were able to build it with whatever, just the Masons.
Yeah.
All you'd have to do is be like, okay, nobody currently knows it's here, except for us.
Somehow.
So let's just not say anything, which they obviously didn't.
Right.
Right? And you'd think the Masons, being an international organization, would still have record of it and be like, so we're just going to protect this.
That's the weird thing. If the Masons are so shadowy and all-encompassing, why the fuck are they everywhere?
Yeah.
But also, why did they have nothing to do with the film at all? They weren't trying to protect anything.
They were
weren't-
knights.
There was no... The whole time, this
Why was
family
there
was
no-
trying to find this treasure,
No one
and
was
not
stopping
once
them?
were the Masons like, hey, you got to cut this out.
For all we know,
Or, hey, come into the fold, we'll tell you where it is.
Right.
maybe they are the ones higher up who were discrediting the whole Gates family.
Oh.
If the whole family has this big looming cloud of, oh, those guys are paranoid nuts.
No, the FBI guy, he was.
He was a
was.
Mason.
He was. So
Could
he was
tell.
kind of like watching it the whole time, and he's just
Keep
like
an eye
making
on
sure
it.
they don't.
When did
Someone's
you
gonna
ever get
go to
that
jail.
impression? Even at the end, he was like, oh, yeah, you found it. We should let the whole world have it. It's like he didn't even know. None
Oh,
of them
yeah.
knew.
But I
He was
thought
a
that
Mason.
He was.
Yeah, he was, but they
he
still didn't know that the treasure
Oh,
was there.
so it was so... Well, what if it was so secret and it went so far back that just nobody knew about it? Which is the weird... Okay, so
So
didn't...
they- yeah.
So you had like 5 guys that knew about it, and they all died, except for before the last guy died, he told the great-great-great-granddad of Gates.
Right.
So does that not allude to nobody else knew who it was? If all 3 of us are the only people in the galaxy who know a secret,
Right.
and we die, then that's it.
But if we were an organization...
As big as what it took to make
Yeah,
that
I mean,
treasure.
let's look at this realistically. Okay, we're Marthyth,
Let's
right?
look at it
so
realistically. Let's look at a Nick Cage
from
film
a realistic
realistically.
standpoint, we are Marthyth. We, so we seeded the Earth.
We.
Of
right?
course.
Now, the thing is, we know this, and those closely involved with us will also know it. Why? What benefit would there be to keeping that a secret? We need to perpetuate it for future generations or whatever, so that it can continue to be protected. Just hiding something guarantees that at some point it's going to be found.
Or forgotten.
True. I kind of feel like early on in watching it, I found it interesting. There was this treasure, and it was gathered by all these people, and then the knights took it, and then somehow it went from overseas.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Oh yeah, it was insanely complex. He's just saying because like they said it kept building and becoming bigger and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it all wound up in the States, and I took that whole thing as, well, they just seem like that big dumb kid on the playground, you know?
Merca.
Right?
Merca.
And I felt like, you know,
But it
they
would have
were,
been the British at the time.
The British brought it over, but then
they turned to
they
Americans?
it was the war where they
So is the
rebelled.
treasure there before?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so they took it over. Imagine the masses of fleets to
Required
get
to
that
get all
entire
that stuff over.
complex
Right.
in there.
Would it
So
not
that's like
have...
thousands of
not
more
one of
people.
them sunk. We're
Yeah.
finding ships all the time that have sunk with bullion and gold.
Right.
So they got all of that over there, and let's say some of those ships sunk. How much more treasure did they actually have?
That's true.
And they were taking it over there like under pressure, so against their enemies. So how many of their ships got blown up by the Spanish or the Portuguese or the French that had more treasure, which means that the British Empire had all of the like historical treasure of the world.
Well, yeah, because they
stored
were
away.
going everywhere, weren't they?
Yeah, but so were the French, and so were the Spanish, and
That's
so were the
true.
Portuguese.
My question becomes, if it was the British that brought it over,
Yeah.
but it's this big American treasure now, would it not have been... At what point did the people who brought it over die out or convert to Americans?
I think that's what we're finding hard to believe is that these like the amount of people involved, who became Americans or
Yeah.
became British or whatever, there's just none left.
There's too many people
There's
involved,
just
and
nobody.
nobody
Yeah.
knows about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's impossible. That's
Because you can't run a whole ship and be like, don't look underneath the tarp,
Right.
you guys.
It's just
Don't look
too-
under there.
Too many people, too complex.
Don't you chip off that
Don't-
nose
yeah.
because it's jade. Don't you do that.
Remember the 3D
thought it was-
glasses, though?
Yeah. The 3D glasses. At that
Fantastic.
moment, he pulls the brick out, and it's like these Ben Franklin
yes,
3D
the
glasses
Red
inside.
and blue lenses.
The branded hollow brick that
Yeah,
no
but
one's
hold
ever
on.
seen.
Yeah, it's just there the whole
Ben
time.
Franklin was a genius,
Yeah.
and what he did to the 3D glasses was added green.
Right.
He had that green lens, and they just figured it out the whole time.
Yeah.
They saw three lenses,
colors,
and not once
yeah.
were they like, "Why are there 3 colors?"
to
Not
the
once.
point where he's arrested
Not to- yeah.
and Harvey Keitel's playing with it.
Playing
He's
with
like,
it.
wait a minute, there's a third color.
Wait a minute. So now we're getting somewhere. The Masons did know because Harvey Keitel was secretly like passing a hint by flicking the thing.
Now we're going
Hint,
too deep.
Hint. It's too much.
It's too much.
It's too much. No, but I mean, back to like Rick O'Connell and Indiana Jones. Nick Cage was never going to be like even a remote
He's just not believable in
comparison to that.
anything.
No.
No.
Well, he's been in a few good movies, but a
Yeah,
lot
but
of
by
bad
a lot,
Really?
movies.
That's casting.
Oh yeah, he's been in like Raising Arizona,
Yeah,
like some of the
Raising
old
Arizona.
ones that he was really good in.
Matchstick Man was
Matchstick
really good.
Man was good.
Yeah.
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 Like more his indie kind of stuff.
Smaller
not
stuff?
Smaller stuff, not so commercially successful stuff. It's
He needs to
when
stop
Nick-
doing stuff for paychecks.
It's when he does the big
Yeah.
budget stuff that he really
He's
falls
so
flat.
broke. Brother
I-
needs
yeah.
to stop buying dinosaurs.
I heard that that's one of the reasons why he does take like every
Awful.
movie offered to him is because he's had like tax problems or something like that, and he's just got to keep doing these terrible movies to sustain himself.
Don't you love it when actors do that? Who was I reading about the other day? He was. I love him as an actor. Reservoir Dogs and
Harvey Keitel,
Which
Tim
which
Roth.
Reservoir Dogs?
Tim Roth. Yeah, so Tim
Oh
Roth
yeah,
did a movie.
he's a dad.
Oh, he's such a good actor.
Didn't he have a
Like-
show?
And yeah, Lie
a
to Me,
mainstream
which
show?
was really, really
Oh, Lie
good.
to Me, yeah, that was good, yeah.
But the thing about Tim Roth is he's in so many amazing movies, like legitimately phenomenal cinematic masterpieces. The guy,
Name 3.
Pulp Fiction,
Oh yeah,
So good.
Reservoir Dogs.
Do those
of
count as two
course.
different movies
these
though?
are all Quentin movies.
No, they count as different movies. I think.
I like him as an actor.
He was well, the Hulk isn't a cinematic masterpiece, but he was in The Incredible Hulk as the bad guy, and he was excellent. Youth Without Youth.
I never watched that. You told me to watch
I've never
that.
heard of that.
It's amazing. It's an amazing film. Anyways, the point is I love Tim Roth, but I read recently that he took a role in a movie about like FIFA soccer, like the FIFA.
Oh, like the
really?
whole conspiracy thing, or
There was that whole. No,
Like
there wasn't
the-
really a conspiracy thing.
Like like bribes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
FIFA was like it was all messed up.
or corrupt? Sorry, that's the word.
Corrupt.
Yeah.
So he did this movie, and it's largely considered now as one of the worst films ever made, if not
Really?
the worst film ever made.
What is it?
Had the worst box office bomb pretty much
Oh,
ever.
I did hear about that. Which one was that?
How recent?
It was fairly recent.
Yeah, it was fairly recent, and he basically said in an interview that he took it for the paycheck.
I can't remember what it was called, but I know which one you're talking about. And they kind of just swept it under the rug, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like they released it and they're like, "Oh, this is so bad."
And it grossed something like $950 in like
Yeah, 'cause there was no
4 theaters
release.
or 6
Yeah.
theaters or something.
United Passions 2014
Yeah.
follows the passing of the FIFA baton through 3 association presidents.
It has 2 out of 10 stars on IMDb.
I mean, you know, first thing is soccer's the worst sport known to man.
Wow.
Second thing is you're watching a movie about like the administration of the league,
right.
and
Administration.
It sounds gripping.
no, but that's the thing is I expect
Suburbs.
if the NFL was to say, you know what, we're gonna make a
They did.
yeah, they've made films
They
about
made Concussion.
coaches and whatever else.
Can they
yeah.
make it about
They are
abuse?
gripping films. They're good films.
I haven't seen that one.
Abuse.
Continue.
What you mean, like Adrian Peterson beating his child with a
Oh,
whip?
children,
stick
wives,
switch?
dogs, pick one. If
Yeah.
you're giant and
Oh,
you
yeah.
can still play a sport, you're fine.
There's a lot.
Totally
There's a
acceptable.
lot of abuse, but you have to understand that those people committing
matter.
the abuse were all raised in like the projects, the hood.
Well, it's nice that they took their chance to become upstanding citizens.
Yeah, I mean when you go from that to multi-million dollar
being surrounded
contracts
by yes men and
with no
liars.
guidance, that's what do you expect?
It's gonna happen once in a while. You're gonna start a dogfighting
Also,
ring. It's inevitable.
I mean, I love the NFL, and I read a lot about these guys, and you know, most of them are like, you know, I had it tough. I had no dad growing up, and this kind of thing. And I think, you know, it's not really that surprising that they fall into these things. Money doesn't correct your personal behavior.
That's true.
Sometimes it's a good lead-in, you know?
You gotta suck to start, because if you suck at the beginning, then you just later you're just gonna get all of the other stuff. You don't want that in your mouth.
No ass to mouth on the podcast.
Aw.
None.
Nope.
None.
Nope.
Do you have
Yeah,
your
never
Listerine
go
shot
ask
ready?
them.
Yeah, we need to clean up. We need to clean out.
Listerine.
Let's get
Here
some
you go.
oral antiseptic.
You guys should just like
You gotta get this. Are we
swish it
recording?
around in your mouth while I talk about it for a little.
No, I might spit take. So this is the yellow. It's not the orange. It's the yellow.
No, this is original flavor.
Yeah, it's yellow.
Yeah.
Yellow?
Oh, there's no orange.
It's not
original
yellow.
flavor.
It's kind of brownish.
It's goldy. It smells like a
Brownish,
dentist office.
brownish gold.
Smells like what?
A dentist
A
office.
dentist's office.
Having like 15 years of dental work done, it smells like a dentist office.
It does. It's so the color is very piss-like.
It really is. It's like you haven't had. You've only been drinking coffee and scotch for a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
It may. it is piss-like, yeah.
But Aaron swears by it.
I prefer it.
He also sticks it in his mouth. So what are you gonna do?
Is that enough?
I stick a lot
I'm
of
sure
things
any
in
of
my
it's
mouth.
enough. First time.
Did you
First
say
thing,
he
Charlie.
also sticks it in his mouth?
Sticks things?
Oh, things.
Things.
Sometimes I put.
Can I just smell it? Is that enough? Because the more I smell it, the more it's like those black hulls.
Oh
Just-
yeah. See, Aaron also likes those. He
Oh,
brought
you're
that
such a
up.
freak.
And fish.
Black Halls and original extra strength Fisherman's Friends.
Disgusting. All right, here we go.
Fisherman's Friends.
Okay, I'm going in.
She's gagging on it. It's not that bad. You guys are nuts.
Tastes awful and it burns.
No, yeah, it burns.
Yeah, it burns.
Listerine.
Okay, you just hurt my feelings instead.
Listerine. You know it's working because it burns.
Yeah, it does. Well, they make stuff that doesn't burn anymore.
You guys look like I've tortured you.
No, you know what the big upsetting
I don't
thing
think that
is?
was the recommended time to swish it around.
2 minutes.
Do you want to know the first thing I thought of when I stuck it in my mouth? Great, now I'm gonna have to. What? I can't. This is
that
not
anymore.
gonna taste as good.
It'll still taste good.
I'm gonna need some more.
Yeah, get some more. How
do you like
Wash
that?
it down with some
Because he's an
Mama.
old weirdo.
Oh, that's awful.
It's not
I am
awful.
not surprised they don't sell this at anywhere but Walmart.
I happen to think that it is the best of Listerines. I think that things that are perceived as a challenge are good for you.
Just continuing to spit into it. That's my reflex too.
It's not that bad. Give me the bottle.
Spitting is your reflex?
Oh.
Nobody wants to
Look,
swallow
if
something that
Earthlings
gross.
did anything right, it's Listerine Original.
Ugh.
Listerine Original.
I can think of 4 other things that they did right.
At least 4.
What?
Tacos,
Tacos.
Big Mac. Iken has cheeseburgers.com.
You still use... That's old school. All right.
Where are you getting your cat pictures from?
Oh.
Oh, good cat pictures.
He doesn't have his
You wouldn't
cat
want
pic.
any because you like to stick it in your mouth instead.
Ah.
Oh, I have cats. I don't need pictures.
This is terrible.
Iken has cheeseburgers. Was there a 4th one?
There is.
Yeah.
It's out there.
All right, it'll come to you.
Hasn't happened yet. No, it hasn't happened yet.
Oh.
Right?
yeah.
I'm giving them an opportunity. Do you hear me? I'm giving you an opportunity to do something else right. Just one thing. You have to do one thing.
Right.
I just passed him my spit cup, so you know.
We're sharing spit cups
We're
now.
sparing. We're spitting it in the same place.
Well, sharing. That's nice. Now I can't go to my drink. I can't.
Just slam it down. That's what I'm gonna do.
You know, I went and bought this stuff. I mean, I've switched to a whitening mouthwash now.
Really?
Yeah, because I got, you know, I smoke and I drink a lot of coffee.
And we have to see you every day.
Yeah.
People
It's
have to
very
see
nice of
me.
you to switch.
People have to look at me, and so I switched. But you know, I went and I bought this, and I swished it around my mouth for a good, I don't know, 5 minutes on the way home.
Isn't the recommend on the way home? Like you got it,
You're driving.
and then
while
in the
doing
vehicle
this?
you
Yeah.
opened it.
I opened it in the vehicle. I took a swig, and I had a good mouthwash session on the way home.
Did you?
And then
roll
I had
down
a
your window
cigarette and a
spit
cup
it?
of coffee, and I thought I should have. It's too bad they don't make original in whitening version.
Can you just do both? Is that too much?
Nah.
Which one would you do first? Do you do the whitening first, or with the original wash off the whitening,
You'd
or do you
think
do
you'd-
the whitening second, but the first one has made a film?
You guys would probably do the whitening second because you hate the flavor of the original.
Wash that shit.
That's
It
true.
looks like piss.
But I can just have a glass of scotch afterwards.
It looks like piss. It tastes like heaven.
Like antifreeze.
It does kind of taste like antifreeze.
How do we know what antifreeze
I'm
tastes like?
aware that it's
Been
not a
desperate?
desirable flavor.
No.
But that's kind of
Just
what I
been-
appreciate about it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mind the flavor less than the fact that it makes me feel like my gum line is on fire.
Oh, it does
Like there's paper
right
cuts,
away.
like right
Yeah.
where the tiny, like the thinnest part of your gum,
Yeah.
where it meets your tooth, just being like razored off.
I like how it was a marketing feature for them to take that really intense like feeling, and they're like, well, here's some Listerine Easy or whatever. And they're
Alcohol
like,
free.
Alcohol free. It's less intense.
Your granddad likes the intense stuff. Well, you know what? This is not your granddad's Listerine. You should get some. It's hot and cool. It's for millennials.
But just so you know, it's not as effective.
Shut up, granddad. You're old.
It burns 'cause it tastes so good.
And
It burns 'cause it's working. You know it's working because it burns.
I could do a Listerine ad.
Listerine Original. You know it's working because it burns.
No one who that appeals to is watching television anymore.
But don't swallow it 'cause it'll burn coming out.
That's the Buckley's mentality. Like
Buckley's?
they
Yeah, they
embrace
market
it.
it, and
Yep.
they're like, yeah, this stuff tastes like
And it
fucking
works for them.
shit. And
Yeah.
Tastes like a.
Tastes like fucking shit, did you say? Or
It tastes like a bucket of shit. Ah, this stuff
bucket of
tastes like a
rancid shit.
bucket of shit.
A bucket of rancid shit on fire.
yeah,
Like,
but
but,
they're
not just like, you know, like a campfire.
Right.
Like a fucking rocket fuel blue flame fire.
That's how they like it.
Buckley's cough syrup. You know it works because it tastes like a bucket of shit on fire.
Well, at least now we know that, so we don't have to test it either.
Right.
I'm glad that we've experienced enough that we've got the background to not have to worry about putting that inside.
I'm gonna drink that bottle
Oh no.
tomorrow.
Oh no.
I'm gonna drink
In the
that whole
ditch?
bottle tomorrow morning before I go to work.
Is it because we have to be next to you and you'd have minty fresh breath after that?
It does make
And maybe
breath
you take
smell
more
pretty
naps.
good.
it's not minty fresh.
No, it's like that. What's that? Menthol-y? Menthol.
Oh no, I would rather smoke a carton of menthols than that. Only because I used to smoke
Here's the
menthols.
thing: medicinal agreements.
Medicinal agreement.
mystical agreement.
Medicinal agreements.
Awful.
Medicinal agreements.
Oh, God.
Eucalyptal.
Yeah, eucalyptus. That's
Eucalyptus.
what I'm tasting.
Is really?
yeah.
Oh, I taste dentist glove.
I like this though. Caution: keep out of reach of children.
Yeah, you don't want your kids chugging that
It's not
stuff.
child appropriate this time. I mean,
just
what kid would? They'd be
Put
like,
some in their juice, turn up the heat,
no!
and take a nap.
Kid would. I mean, I prefer it, but a kid would throw up as soon as it hit their tongue. You know, keep out of reach of children unless they've ingested a dangerous chemical. Then give them some Listerine Original, and they'll throw it all up.
That's what Ipecac is for. I've seen that scene in the movie with the pie scene where everybody throws up. You know the one I'm talking about.
Movie with
Anne
the
of Green
pie
Gables?
No. You know.
Epicac is in Anne of Green Gables. We talked about my very selective library at home growing up earlier.
Right.
That's
Von
a classic,
Trapp's
though.
Anne of Green Gables.
I mean, so we're all Canadians here.
Marthythians.
We're all Marthythians
Well,
here.
we are Canadian.
We're all
Marthyth.
Canadian Marthythians here.
Just because we elect to identify with them doesn't mean you can technically say. I mean, they kind of embody a bit more of our ideals than a lot of the other nations have
Let's
developed.
be careful about that. That depends on which Marthythian we're talking about here. The point is, as Canadian Marthythians, we all grew up, probably, maybe not all of us, but Sunday evenings, if you didn't have cable, you would watch half of a Disney movie and Anne of Green Gables every Sunday.
What did they used to call that?
either of
CBC
those
boys.
It was like a big deal, the Disney movie on CBC,
Yeah.
and they called it something. Like they billed it to something.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
had
remember
some
what it
name,
was.
and you'd watch it every week, and it'd be half of a movie, and they'd, you know, even if you were watching the second half, they'd still have the Disney like intro with
Yeah,
the castle and
yeah.
stuff. And it was a family deal. We'd
It
sit
was.
down for Sunday nights, watch Anne of Green Gables, and what was the other one? Anne of Green Gables and Road to Avonlea.
Oh
I know of
yeah.
these programs,
Yeah.
but I never actually watched them.
Yeah, that
The
takes
road.
me back.
That totally just came up when I googled Disney on CBC. Road to
Ed
Avonlea.
Hetty and Sarah Polly.
takes me back, yeah.
Sarah Polly's actually done quite well for herself.
She has.
Anne
Did
Hetty
you ever
just
watch the
died
movie
recently.
Go? She didn't die? Did you
Anne
say
Hetty?
she
Yeah,
died?
she did. Anne Hetty's dead.
Oh! I thought you said
Not
Sarah
Sarah
Polly. I'm like,
No.
what the- she didn't die.
No.
That's like
No.
she'd have a state funeral. Sarah Polly.
Who?
Sarah Polly.
Come on, Free.
Okay, hold on.
Anne of Green Gables, Road to Avonlea.
Okay, I
She wasn't in
Some of
Anne of
them.
Green Gables, though.
I definitely recognize
she
her.
was.
The movie
Wasn't
Go,
that-
along with
It
Swingers.
wasn't. She was just in Road to Avonlea.
Gross Point Blank.
Yes.
Totally.
Well, there you go.
recognize
Who cares about
She
the
was in
redhead?
Grosse Point Blank?
her. Apparently.
Sarah Polly.
Sarah
was?
Polly.
Why did it come up? with-
Minnie Driver and John Cusack.
Oh
were in
no,
Grosse
sorry.
Point Blank.
I'm under the people who liked this also liked.
Give me a fucking break.
my
Have you ever
bad.
used the internet? I mean, come on.
It's my
Just because the
first
reception
day.
out here is bad doesn't mean that you've got any excuse. To be
Guys,
fair, Grosse Point Blank, amazing movie.
It's a great
that was
film.
So
a fantastic movie.
That is a
so
great
good.
film.
Aykroyd is good in that.
Aykroyd's good. Look, Aykroyd's
What
a
has he ever
nut
been
job.
bad in?
Yeah, exactly. Aykroyd is a nut job,
But it
but he's
works.
great in everything. And that, you know, actors in general, there's a lot of them I feel that way about, you know? There's a lot of nut job actors.
Tom Cruise,
but
John Travolta.
Yeah,
We're just
but they're
going
good
the
actors.
Scientology route.
Travolta's a good actor?
Scientologist actors are nut jobs, but or in Aykroyd's case, ones that like actively promote belief in ghosts, aliens, and whatever the fuck, crystal head vodka.
Careful, the
whatever.
Scientologists are going to come in here and shut us down.
No,
Christy Alley can try.
She can damn
she'd
well
eat
try.
you though.
No, I would just stand between
She'd-
those two posts.
She'd be successful. She would eat you in
Ah,
one bite.
I like how you both went that direction.
Yeah, well. She's not. No, she wasn't Diane, was she? Who was she on Cheers?
She was after Diane. Diane left,
Yeah.
and then it was Who Cares.
Oh, I see.
I think she was.
I never watched
yeah, I think
Cheers.
that was her character's name. Who Cares?
I'm one of those
Funny
guys.
story. When they spun off Frasier from Cheers, Christy Alley wrote the producers a letter to say that she would never be on Frasier because Scientology didn't believe in psychiatry. And their response was, "We didn't actually ask you,
Yeah,
but thanks."
that's a preemptive strike. She figured
Yeah.
Because everybody
she was
else
so
had been
popular. Yeah, she's so good. Give me a break. Look Who's Talking, and Look Who's Talking too.
Oh, yeah. Roseanne.
That same memory came back.
Who was the baby? Who was that voice?
Look who's it wasn't called Look Who's Talking Now. It's or 2. It was called Look Who's Talking
Bruce
Now.
Willis. Was it Bruce Willis?
It was.
Bruce Willis.
It was no. There was. You're
There
talking
were
about
two.
the third one. Look Who's Talking Now is the
There's a
third
third
one.
Oh
one?
my god, there was.
Look Who's Talking. Look Who's Talking 2, and Look Who's Talking Now.
I still want to know who the baby's voice was.
It was Bruce Willis, wasn't it?
I don't know. I can interject Bruce Willis into anything.
I just assumed
Probably
you were right.
was Bruce Willis.
I got really excited. Bruce Willis.
Why? Yeah, it was voice of Mikey.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis.
Woo,
Mikey.
woo. I love Bruce Willis.
Hold on. It says, look, I'm looking at the first one. Look Who's Talking.
Yeah.
When did that
And it
come out?
says voice of Mikey, Jason Schaller, Jared Waterhouse, Jacob Haynes,
No,
Christopher
it's up
Aiden,
higher than that. It's the first one.
Bruce Willis. How are there so many other Mikeys?
I don't know.
Do all those people sound like Bruce Willis?
I
That's
hope
their
not.
claim to fame? They just all sound like Bruce
That's pretty
Willis.
good.
Of
You could do a
different
lot of
ages?
phone sex lines if everybody said they sounded like Bruce Willis.
It's just a phone sex line
Really?
where you
He's got
phone
a sexy
in.
voice, Bruce Willis?
Maybe.
Totally.
Totes.
Totes.
The way that he's always kind of grizzled, except in Pulp Fiction where he gets so fucking mad. That even makes me afraid.
Oh yeah.
Bruce Willis. No, I can't do a Bruce Willis.
I love Bruce Willis.
I'm Bruce Willis.
That works for everyone.
That was
I'm
wonderful.
okay.
I'm Michael Caine. I'm Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis?
I only see one voice of Mikey. Oh, see,
Mikey.
voice of Mikey, and then Mikey.
Oh, the kids.
They were
Yes.
babies.
Kids,
Oh, so
yeah.
you're telling me that
For crap's
See,
sake,
all-
can neither of you use the internet?
4 babies
4 babies for one Bruce Willis.
for one... Yeah, but so all those babies look the same.
Because they're infants. All infants look the same.
No, they don't. I've seen some ugly-looking infants.
There are ugly babies.
No, they're
Some
not.
are uglier than others.
Okay,
They're-
there's
they're-
the varying degrees of
I
ugly.
have 2 daughters, so
Aaron's
I take
like,
offense to that.
Some of them are ugly, some of them are pug ugly, some of
Yeah.
them are fugly, and some of them are ugly.
Unless it's like right away, like right when they're born. Yeah, they're all ugly. All of them.
Immediately.
That makes it sound
afterwards.
like when they're born, they're not ugly.
No, yeah, right when they're born, they're ugly. Yeah, yeah.
Right when they're born?
All babies are gross when they're born.
Because they're all
Yeah,
covered in
okay.
stuff.
I'm looking at this from the perspective of like a dad.
I guess
so
it's hard
not-
for you to
Yeah.
understand.
If it was someone else's baby,
Yeah.
I'd think that way. But with my own babies, I'm like, yeah, it's a cute baby.
Oh, they're a miracle of life.
Miracle. Miracula.
How did we get
You know,
here?
I wish that Earthlings pronounced words properly. It's really hard to stay within this accent, you know?
The one you're talking in now?
Yeah, I mean, why did Earthlings take our language and brutalize it?
It's not their
Why-
fault that their mouths are shaped that way.
Why did they start saying miracle instead of miracula?
Well, that's not how it's pronounced.
Miracle is not how it's pronounced.
Well, they've been conjecting phrases into words all the time. Goodbye, God be with you. It's just all
It's
kind of...
just
Goodbye.
We should just
Goodbye.
What's the word for the science of words?
Linguistics?
Linguistics. Yeah.
Entomology, where words come from.
There. Like all good answers.
Wordy and loquacious.
Dang. Like
I think
a
those are actually
thesaurus
the
over here.
same thing.
Yeah.
Loquacious.
Loquacious.
Do you know what names I love?
Lucius? Lucian.
You're on the right track. Actually.
Loretta?
Damien.
No. Victor with a K.
Oh.
Right? You said
Very
Lucian.
Eastern.
And Lucius. And what film do those names all come from? Victor and Marcus.
Underworld!
That's right,
The second
Underworld.
one's my favorite.
Victor and Marcus. I love those names because of that film.
This sounds like the E.T. special that was like narrated by Commander Riker.
Oh.
Yeah.
Riker.
Fucking red shirt.
He's so handsome.
Did you
Right?
ever notice Riker whenever he sits down, he like flips his leg over the chair?
Mitch is my new favorite.
Yeah.
I'm
Flips his
sorry.
leg.
He does. Watch
He does.
footage.
Yeah,
It's like
no,
I can't do it with
There's a supercut.
I can't
literally
do it
like
with
this.
headphones. No one's going to see it anyways.
every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
Except
classy.
obviously the captain commander chair.
It's classy.
The reason is I guess he has like really bad back problems.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Is that why?
Yeah. No, that's why, because he can't like bend at the waist very well.
Nor can he like lower himself apparently.
That's why he has such good stature, because he's always walking with his back arrow straight.
Right. Or if he's like leaning against something.
Commander Riker. Except he doesn't have a very like Riker-ish name. I hear that name and I see him act and I see his character and I expect like bravado in his voice, but he doesn't. He has just kind of a
He
normal
just has
voice.
his stature. Oh no.
I would think that he would speak like Commander Riker.
But he doesn't. He's kind of like,
I think that all
hi,
of the
I'm
two
Commander Riker.
Aww.
Yeah, he's sweet. He's handsome and sweet.
I think all of the Tood got picked up by Worf though. I mean, you don't
Worf.
have
Oh, yeah.
you don't have a Klingon on deck and sass. Nobody else sasses.
Nobody can sass like a
true.
Klingon.
Nope.
Yeah. I think some of the most intriguing scenes are Data and Worf.
You
They're
can't.
so opposing. There's
'Cause they
no
come-
But
Right.
more
similar.
opposing.
No,
to-
I think that they're super similar as well because one's legitimately not human, and the other one is so removed from humanity.
Right.
You know, so they have that similarity. But you are right; they are super opposites.
Yeah.
Worf is like the Vulcan of Next Gen,
Totally.
right?
Totally.
Because Worf is that, like, it's always anger as opposed to just controlling his
Yeah.
emotions. He's just always angry.
Right.
Everything just pisses him off all
He
the
must be
time.
an Aries.
Could be.
If he
Could
cried,
an
he'd be a
Aries.
Cancer.
I mean, he has emotions, you know, that's revealed over the many seasons.
Over their many adventures.
He wants to be more human-like, Worf. And Spock, wants to be more human-like also.
Like he
Connect with
tries
his
very hard.
Which, is interesting because as Marthythians, being that humans are simply a product of us, even
Oh.
in their lore
Yeah.
and mythology, humans aspire to be Marthythian. I mean, it is the race, Marthyth.
That's kind of gone up and down throughout
Yeah.
their history now, hasn't it?
How so? What do you mean?
Did nobody else go right to the Aryans?
Yeah, like no, I went like that's kind of a
Yeah. How
pretty
sad
weird
that
place
that
to go.
over the years that there have been people, and as they've been put like growing as a species, the one thing or the things that are so outstanding are the horrific travesties that happen. There's not. Sure, there's, the loaves and the fishes. What is the modern loaves and fishes? Is there one?
What do you mean? I don't
Jesus and the
understand.
loaves and the fishes?
Yeah, no, I know the reference, but I mean, what do you mean?
How positive it was. Even the notion of feeding a group of people, I don't feel like that gets enough recognition. How long until the wheel turns where it's less, look at those guys over there, look at the terrible things they're doing, and more, holy crap, look at the nice things. Where
Oh,
is
I
it
see, like,
naive
how history
to
is
hope
written?
that?
Well, that's an
true.
interesting.
That's unfair.
not entirely written by the winners. I mean, if you think about
Like anyone's gonna believe a loser.
bunch of losers.
Yeah,
over
no,
here.
I understand that to a point, but I mean, at the same time, the Egyptians eventually lost. We know what success they've had. The Romans eventually lost. We know what success they had. the impact is lasting. Other empires arose, other empires fell, and it is what it was. I mean, if you want to go back to the loaves and fishes thing, we're kind of going on off on a very much a tangent here, but
What's the first good example I could come up with?
it's an excellent example, though, and realistically, if you look at that, that is the genesis of the Western world, is Christendom. So you can say whatever you want about Christendom and whatever atrocities, whatever else, and that's a whole
Oh, it's all the interpretation thereof.
that's a whole
That's the
historiological discussion. But the fact remains that the Western world, the modernized world, was built on the foundations of Christendom, of Christianity, of the loaves and the
doubtless.
fishes, and et cetera, and so on. Now, if you want to look at other parts of the world, I'm sorry to say, but the truth of the matter is, if you go to a place like Rwanda or the Middle East or what was Cambodia during the Khmer Rouge or the Soviet Union, which, by the way, is some people argue is a loaves and fishes ideal. As soon as you go into those places and you look at their brutal modern histories, it all of a sudden becomes a place I would never, ever want to live or raise a family. So I would argue that in the Western world, that mentality, that ideal, brought us to the comfort of life and the appreciation and love and care for the rest of the world that we have.
Brought them as North Americans and us watching it.
North Americans, Western Europe, whichever, and any good, I'm going to make a real stretching statement here. Any good that has been brought upon other parts of the world that are developing nations is because of the adoption of Western ideals.
How did we get here?
Indonesia, Brazil, Japan, South Korea, all prime examples.
Done, man.
It was an accident.
And you know what? I don't think it hurts in some ways, if any of the three of us say something that actually has conviction or meat to it. I don't think that we pull out of it just because it doesn't fit the humor of the rest of it. And I think that's part of the charm, right? I mean, if you watch a good comedy, film, it's hilarious. But what makes it a good comedy film is that there's actually heart involved with it.
For sure.
Hologram program deactivated.